I died choking on my own vomit in a dingy motel room off the Vegas Strip. My veins burning from the fentanyl-laced coke my cousin Eddie swore was just a little pick-me-up to get through Mom's funeral. The last thing I saw was Aunt Carla's face on my phone screen, smirking as she texted, "Sorry. Sweetie. The apartment's being cleared out for your own good. Family comes first." And then, nothing, until the world snapped back into focus. My heart slamming against my ribs like a trapped animal. The sterile beep of a hospital monitor from 5 years earlier piercing the air. I was 25 again, staring at the faded wallpaper of my old Brooklyn walk-up. The one Mom and I had painted sunflower yellow the summer before her chemo started. And the betrayal hit me harder than the overdose ever could. They hadn't just stolen my stuff, they'd stolen my life. It was the fall of 2020, right when the world was crumbling under lockdowns and lies. But for me, it was supposed to be the start of something unbreakable. Mom, Lillian Harper, the toughest broad Queens ever spit out, had just been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Poppy, baby, she'd rasped through her oxygen mask in that cramped ER at Mount Sinai, her hand squeezing mine like she was passing a torch. "Don't let the vulture circle. Promise me." I'd nodded, tears blurring the fluorescent lights, swearing on the locket she'd given me for my high school graduation, the one with our photos inside. Her grinning in a Mets cap. Me all gangly limbs and braces. That promise was my anchor as the months blurred into a nightmare of hospital bills stacking like Jenga blocks. My freelance graphic design gigs drying up because who needs album covers when the world's on pause? Our family wasn't big on Hallmark moments. Dad bailed when I was 6, chasing some pipe dream in Reno, and what was left was a tangle of half-siblings, cousins, and aunts who showed up only when the scent of inheritance wafted their way. Aunt Carla, Mom's older sister, was the queen bee, divorced 3 times, running a boutique real estate firm that mostly flipped foreclosures in Jersey. She had that fake tan glow and a laugh like shattering glass, always cooing about family unity while eyeing Mom's modest savings account. Eddie, her son, was the wild card, 28, tattoos snaking up his neck, bouncing between odd jobs and overdoses. He called me little sis like we shared blood, but it was all performative bullshit. Then there was Uncle Ray, Carla's brother-in-law from marriage number 2, a burly ex-cop turned private security consultant, with a mustache that screamed 70s porn star and a grudge against anyone who didn't salute the flag hard enough. I didn't suspect a thing at first. Mom's will was straightforward. The Brooklyn apartment, our 2-bedroom rent-stabilized gem in Bed-Stuy, went to me, along with her life insurance payout of $150,000 to cover the debts and give me a fresh start. "You're my legacy, Poppy," she'd whispered one night, her voice a threadbare whisper as we binge-watched The Golden Girls on her ancient Roku. "Don't let them turn you into one of them." I'd laughed it off, too exhausted to see the wolves at the door. But as her treatments ramped up, chemo frying her insides, radiation leaving her a ghost, I started noticing the cracks. Carla would breeze into the apartment with Tupperware casseroles that tasted like regret, rifling through Mom's jewelry box while checking on things. Eddie crashed on our couch more nights than not, his eyes glassy, promising to help with the bills but vanishing when rent was due. By spring 2021, Mom was gone. The funeral was a circus at St. Mary's in Williamsburg, black dresses and crocodile tears under the stained glass saints. I stood there in my thrift store sheath, clutching that locket, as Carla delivered the eulogy like she was auditioning for Real Housewives. "Lillian was the heart of this family," she'd sobbed, dabbing her eyes with a monogrammed hanky, while Eddie hovered in the back, fidgeting with his phone. Uncle Ray manned the door, nodding solemnly to the handful of mourners, Mom's old bridge club ladies. A few neighbors who'd brought over soup. I barely registered it all. Grief was a fog, thick and suffocating. That night, after the wake at some dive bar in Greenpoint, I crashed hard, popping an Ambien chased with cheap Merlot, dreaming of Mom's laugh echoing off subway tiles. Waking up the next morning was when the real hell began. My phone buzzed like a hornet's nest, texts from my landlord, panic emojis from my best friend Jax, and a voicemail from an unknown number, MS. Harper, this is Detective Ruiz from the 79th Precinct. We need to talk about a break-in at your residence. Break-in? My blood turned to ice as I stumbled out of bed, the apartment door ajar like an invitation to chaos. The place was gutted. Drawers yanked open.
Cushions slashed.
Mom's antique china shattered on the kitchen linoleum. My laptop gone. The shoebox of cash I'd scraped together for emergencies vanished. And worst of all, the locket, ripped from its chain on the nightstand. Nowhere in sight. I called the cops, my voice cracking as I paced the wreckage. They arrived in under an hour, 2 bored uniforms who poked around like it was a Tuesday chore. Looks like pros, miss, one said, scribbling notes. Any enemies? Enemies? This was Brooklyn, not a Scorsese flick. But as they dusted for prints, my super, Mrs. Kowalski from downstairs, shuffled up with her ancient flip phone. Poppy. Honey. The cameras caught something weird last night. Around midnight, she hit play. And there it was, grainy black and white footage of 3 figures slipping in with a key, my key, hoodies up, moving like they owned the place. One silhouette paused by the window, pulling down the sunflower curtains Mom loved, stuffing them into a duffel. Another rifled the fridge, pocketing the last of her Ensure shakes. The third, oh God. The third was Eddie, his neck tats flashing under the hallway light as he pried open my desk drawer. I retched into the sink, the cops exchanging glances. Family, the female officer asked gently. I nodded, numb, as Jax burst through the door, her purple hair a blur. What the fuck?
Poppy?
I saw the supers post on Nextdoor. It's blowing up. By noon, the footage had leaked, Mrs. Kowalski, bless her nosy heart, had uploaded it to the neighborhood Facebook group with a caption, Thieves hit widow's daughter during vigil. Shares skyrocketed. 500 by dinner. 10K overnight. Comments flooded in. Heartless bastards, hope they rot. This is why I lock my doors twice. Local news picked it up. New York One ran a segment at 6 p.m. The anchor's voice dripping sympathy. In a shocking betrayal, relatives of a grieving young woman are suspected of looting her home during her mother's funeral. The virality was a double-edged sword. Donations trickled in via a GoFundMe Jack setup, $2K in 24 hours from strangers moved by the story. But the backlash? Vicious. Carla called me hysterical, her voice shrill over speakerphone as I huddled on the fire escape. Chain-smoking camels. Poppy. This is libel. Eddie was helping, checking for valuables so junkies wouldn't snatch them. Ray had a key from your mom. For emergencies.
Lies.
All of it. I knew because I'd seen the texts later. In my past life, before the spiral that ended in that Vegas motel. Carla's group chat with Eddie and Ray. Move fast. Before she sobers up. The will's ironclad. But if we stage it right, insurance fraud, poof. Payouts ours. That first life? It unraveled fast after the break-in. Cops dragged their feet, no arrests, just ongoing investigation. The stress gnawed at me. I started self-medicating with Eddie's gifts, pills at parties, coke at bars, anything to drown the rage. Jax tried to pull me back, but I pushed her away, convinced everyone was complicit. The apartment went into probate. Carla filing motions to protect the estate, freezing my access. Homeless and hopeless. I couch-surfed until Eddie lured me to Vegas for a family reunion. One spiked drink. A blurred weekend. And I woke up in that room. The door locked from outside. My phone dead. Carla's last text. Cleanup's done. Rest easy. They found me 3 days later.
OD'd.
The coroner ruling accidental. But I knew they knew it was murder by proxy.
And now?
Reborn in this body. 5 years peeled back like onion skin. I gasped awake in that same sunflower yellow bedroom. The date on my phone reading September 15th, 2020. Mom's laugh echoed from the kitchen, real. Not a dream. Poppy. Breakfast burritos, extra chorizo. My heart shattered and reformed in the same beat. I stumbled out, wrapping her in a hug that smelled of lavender soap and home. She chuckled, patting my back. Rough night.
Kiddo?
You look like you saw a ghost. If only she knew. The locket hung cool against my chest.
Intact.
The apartment door locked tight. No duffel bags in sight. But the memories? Razor sharp. This time, I wouldn't break. This time, I'd bury them first. The first order of business was reconnaissance. I couldn't tip my hand. Not yet. Mom's diagnosis was weeks away. The family vultures still circling at a distance. Carla's last visit had been a check-in lunch at Junior's in downtown Brooklyn. Cheesecake slices the size of hubcaps masking her probing questions. How's Lillian's estate planning?
You know?
Contingencies. I'd brushed it off then.
But now?
Every word was a landmine. I started documenting screenshots of texts, voice memos of conversations. A hidden folder on my Google Drive labeled taxes for the irony. Jax noticed the shift immediately. We met at our usual spot, the beanery on Myrtle. Her nursing scrubs still wrinkled from a graveyard shift. You okay? Pops?
You're
intense. She stirred her oat milk latte, eyeing me over cat-eye glasses. Jax had been my rock in the first life, queer as a $3 bill, with a mouth that could strip paint and a loyalty fiercer than a pit bull. I trusted her then. I'd trust her now. Swear you'll have my back if shit hits the fan, I said, voice low. She arched a brow. Always.
Spill.
So I did, selectively. No rebirth bombshells, just the gut feeling. Family's gonna fuck me over when Mom's gone. I need proof. Her eyes narrowed, but she nodded. Traps it is. I'll help wire the place, dummy cams, the works. We turned the apartment into Fort Knox over the next month. Motion sensor lights in the hall. Cheap ring knockoffs from Amazon hidden in fake plants. Even a decoy safe bolted under the sink stocked with Monopoly money and costume jewelry. Mom thought it was overkill. Paranoid much. Poppy. But she humored me, her energy waning as the fatigue set in. The diagnosis hit like a freight train in October, inoperable. 6 months tops. Carla swooped in immediately, all concern and casseroles. Eddie trailing like a bad habit. Let's handle things, Auntie, he drawled, flashing that crooked grin. I smiled back. Saccharine sweet, while my phone recorded every syllable. Winter crept in, snow dusting the brownstones like powdered sugar on a corpse. Mom rallied for Christmas, eggnog and die-hard marathons, but by New Year's, she was bedridden. Morphine drips her only company. The family visits ramped up, Carla tallying Mom's meds like inventory. Ray securing the building with his PI license bullshit. Eddie spiking my coffee with stress relief that I flushed down the toilet. I played the grieving daughter, nodding along. But inside, a storm brewed. One night, as Mom slept, I hacked Eddie's Instagram. Password unchanged since high school. Lakers suck 69. His DMs were a goldmine. Flirty exchanges with bookies. Pics of baggies, stamped blue sky. And a thread with Carla. Mom, the will's still hers. We need leverage. Leverage. The word curdled in my gut. February brought the first test. Mom's lawyer, old Mr. Goldstein from Flatbush, called with an update. The will was filed, apartment and payout secured. Carla cornered me in the hospital hallway, her perfume cloying as regret. Poppy, be reasonable. Lillian's assets, our assets, should be pooled. For Eddie's rehab, Ray's business loans. I feigned tears, mumbling agreement, then texted Jax, bait set. That weekend, while I ran errands, they struck early, Eddie with the spare key. Ray hauling boxes to a U-Haul idling curbside. The cams caught it all, Carla directing traffic, stuffing Mom's heirloom quilt into the van, Eddie pocketing my laptop. No funeral yet, but the greed didn't wait. I burst in mid-heist, feigning shock. What the fuck are you doing? Eddie froze, laptop under his arm. Ray puffed up, mustache bristling. Poppy, calm down, this is for the best. Protecting the family. Carla turned, eyes wide like a doe. But I saw the calculation. Sweetie, your mom's not long for this. Let us help. Help. I laughed, bitter and broken. Phone already dialing 911. Help like emptying her grave? Cops swarmed in minutes. Cuffs clicking like applause. The footage? I uploaded it myself to the precinct's evidence server, with copies emailed to Goldstein and the DA's office. By Monday, it was everywhere. New York Post splash, vulture-kin nab grieving niece's pad, pre-funeral heist horror. The fallout was biblical. Carla lawyered up, screaming slander from her Jersey McMansion. Eddie folded like wet cardboard, ratting out Ray for a plea deal. Turns out, the leverage was dirtier. Uncle Ray had been skimming Mom's disability checks for years, forging signatures with Carla's notary stamp. The secret? Dad's abandonment wasn't random. He'd left a trust fund, hidden in offshore accounts, that Carla had siphoned dry post-divorce, blaming Mom for hoarding. Mom knew, had confronted her once, but buried it to keep peace. Family. Poppy, she'd said weakly when I told her later. Sometimes it's the knife you can't see coming. But revenge? It tasted like ash. Jax and I holed up as the trial loomed, spring 2021. Mom slipping away in hospice. I visited daily, reading her Vogue back issues, holding her hand as the machines beeped dirge. Proud of you, kid, she murmured one dusk, her eyes milky but sharp. Don't let hate win. Too late. The courtroom was a circus. Carla in pearls, playing victim, Eddie sniffling on the stand, Ray stonewalling like a bad cop show. My testimony? A scalpel. Dates? Timestamps. The viral vid looping on the prosecutor's laptop. The judge, a no-nonsense black woman from Crown Heights, didn't blink. Grand larceny. Fraud. Elder abuse. Sentences to run consecutive. They went down hard. Carla 5 years in Bedford Hills. Ray 8 in Sing Sing. Eddie 2 with probation. Mandated rehab. The payout cleared. Apartment reclaimed. GoFundMe swelled to $50,000 from viral sympathy. Mom passed in May. Peaceful. Surrounded by sunflowers I'd smuggled in. Her funeral? Invite only, Jax. Mrs. Kowalski.
Goldstein.
No vultures. I scattered her ashes in Prospect Park, the locket around my neck a talisman. Summer bloomed, and I rebuilt new gigs. Therapy with a shrink who didn't flinch at my vivid dreams of alternate lives. Jax and I started a nonprofit, Vigil Watch, wiring homes for at-risk families, turning betrayal into armor. The footage? It spawned a docuseries pitch from Netflix, Heist of Hearts, but I passed. Some scars don't need spotlights. Yet the twist lingered. A shadow in the rearview. One humid August night, scrolling old emails in the quiet apartment, I found it, a draft from Mom, dated 2019, unsent to me. Poppy, if anything happens, know this. Carla wasn't the only one. I borrowed from the trust once. For your braces, your college fund. Paid it back tenfold. But guilt's a bitch. Forgive us all. Borrowed. The knife turned inward. Had Mom's secret enabled the wolves? Or was it just human frailty? The gray we all wade through? I deleted the draft. Poured a glass of Merlot, straight this time, and stepped onto the fire escape. Brooklyn hummed below, sirens wailing, laughter spilling from bars. The city that chews you up but spits you out sharper. Rebirth wasn't clean, it was messy. Controversial as hell me. Judge and jury in my own vendetta. Skirting ethics for justice. But as the skyline glittered, Mom's voice whispered on the breeze, "Don't let hate win." I wouldn't. Not anymore. This life, it was mine, flawed, fierce, unbreakable. No. Scratch that. The rebirth wasn't a gift. It was a curse wrapped in second chances, forcing me to relive the prelude to pain with eyes wide open. The first weeks back were a tightrope walk, smiling through Mom's bad days, biting my tongue when Carla called with her faux-worried check-ins, all while my mind raced with timelines only I could see. "Poppy, you seem distracted," Mom said one afternoon in October, her wig askew as she shuffled to the couch for Jeopardy. I knelt beside her, adjusting the scarf around her neck, the one with tiny daisies she'd picked out herself. "Just work stress."
Mom.
Promise. Lies. The first of many. The truth? I was plotting a war. One polite conversation at a time. Jax became my co-conspirator without knowing the full scope. We'd known each other since Pratt Institute, bonding over all-nighters and bad breakups, her with her rotating gallery of girlfriends, me swearing off men after one too many ghostings. "Traps?" "Huh," she said over takeout pad thai, that first plotting session. Chopsticks poised like weapons. "Like what?" "Bear clamps." I laughed, but it was hollow. "Digital first. Apps to track keys. Voice-activated recorders in the vents." She geeked out, pulling up tutorials on her laptop. We installed the works over a weekend, a nanny cam in the smoke detector, GPS tags sewn into couch cushions, even a Faraday pouch for my phone to block their inevitable snoop attempts. "This is some Ocean's 11 shit," Jax whistled, high-fiving me. "For what, though?" "Spill the tea." I hedged, blaming gut instinct from stories I'd read on Reddit. r/pro revenge threads about family heists. But as Mom's treatments intensified, the mask slipped. Carla hosted Thanksgiving at her Jersey spread, a McMansion with marble counters and zero soul. Eddie showed up late, reeking of weed, slapping my back too hard. Little Poppy, all grown up. Mom says you're stressed. Want a line? Kidding. His laugh was a bark. Ray hovered by the grill, flipping turkey legs while grilling me. Heard about your designs. Freelance is risky. Ever think security consulting? Subtext: join us or else. I nodded, sipping spiked eggnog, my hidden mic picking up their sidebar in the den. Carla's hiss: the will's not filed yet. Goldstein's a fossil, one nudge. Ray's grunt: Eddie'll handle the distraction.
Distraction.
The word haunted me as we drove back to Brooklyn, Mom dozing in the passenger seat of my beat-up Civic. Snow flurries danced under streetlights, the radio crooning Mariah Carey. I pulled over on the BQE, ugly crying into the wheel until Jax's text lit up. You good?
No.
But resolve hardened like frost. December brought Mom's first hospital stay, pneumonia from the chemo, tubes snaking her arms like accusations. The family rotated shifts, but I caught Eddie pocketing her pain meds, Ray organizing her wallet. I confronted him quietly in the cafeteria, steam from vending machine coffee curling between us. Uncle Ray, Mom's stuff stays with her. He blinked, mustache twitching. Protecting you,
Kid.
world's full of opportunists. Irony. Thy name is hypocrisy. A Christmas was bittersweet, a tree strung with LED lights in the living room, Mom's favorite ornaments dangling like fragile promises. We baked gingerbread, her recipe, heavy on molasses, and watched Home Alone until she nodded off mid-scene. That night, alone with a laptop glow, I dove deeper into their skeletons. Public records were a treasure trove. Carla's firm, Hudson Realty, hit with 3 liens for unpaid contractors. Eddie's juvie record sealed, but leakable via a shady PI contact Jax knew from nursing circles.
Ray?
Bounced from the NYPD in 05 for excessive force, a brutality lawsuit settled out of court. The trust fund? A quick LexisNexis dive. Thank you. Library card. Revealed Dad's estate. $200,000 offshore. Funneled through Carla's accounts in 2012. Mom's borrow? A $5,000 wire for my art supplies. Repaid with interest from her nurse overtime. But Carla? She'd drained it dry, falsifying docs to cover. New Year's Eve. I rang in the decade alone on the roof, fireworks popping over the East River like distant gunfire. Jax texted at midnight. Resolution: no mercy? Damn right. I replied. The city sprawl a map of potential battlegrounds. January's cold snap mirrored the chill in my veins. Mom rallied for a bit, walks in the park bundled in scarves. Her arm looped through mine, chattering about spring tulips. But by Valentine's, hospice talks loomed. Carla pushed for it. Practicality her shield. Poppy. Face facts, she's suffering. I snapped then. In the hospital lounge. Voice a whip. Like you're facing yours? Or is denial your brand? She recoiled, Eddie stepping between us like a human shield.
Whoa.
Cease. Chill. But his eyes darted guilt or fear. The heist attempt came mid-February, a Thursday night when I stepped out for milk. Jax monitored from her phone, texting furiously, therein. Eddie first, then Ray with the van. Heart pounding, I circled the block, slipping back via the fire escape. Peering through the grimy window, I watched the tableau. Carla absent but complicit. Eddie stuffing DVDs into a pillowcase. Ray yanking photos from frames. Mom's wedding shot. Dad's ghost smiling. Rage boiled. But I waited. Phone streaming live to the cloud. Bursting through the door was cathartic. Surprise. Motherfuckers. Eddie's face drained of color. Ray whirled. Hand twitching toward his hip. No gun. Thank God. Poppy. This ain't what it looks like. Save it. Cops arrived to a live audience. My 911 call on speaker. Footage buffering to the dispatcher. The arrest was poetry. Eddie blubbering. Ray cursing blue streaks. Carla arriving post facto in a Tesla. Screeching about misunderstanding. But the evidence? Ironclad.
Goldstein.
Alerted. Froze the estate overnight. Media frenzy ignited. Daily News front page. Family flops. Pre-morning raid busted. Virality 2.0. TikToks recreating the cam angles. Twitter threads dissecting the vulture dynasty. Donations poured in. Strangers mailing care packages, blankets,
Books.
even a check from a celeb who'd lost her own mom to the same cancer.
Mom.
Frail but fierce. Squeezed my hand in her room. You did good, baby. Now live. Trial prep dragged into March. Depositions a gauntlet of half-truths. Carla's lawyer, a slick Park Avenue shark, painted me as unstable, delusional grudges from childhood abandonment. Eddie flipped first. Plea for immunity. Mom put me up to it, said Poppy was too weak to handle the inheritance. Weak. I'd show them. Ray stonewalled. But his ex-wife, a bitter pill named Tina, testified via Zoom. Spilling on the trust fraud. He beat me for asking questions. Carla covered it all. The courtroom in Brooklyn Supreme buzzed like a hive. I took the stand in April. Voice steady as I walked them through the footage frame by frame. This wasn't theft. It was erasure, stealing Mom's memory before she was cold. The verdicts landed in May, just as dogwoods bloomed pink against the gray. Guilty across the board. Larceny. Conspiracy. Financial elder abuse. Carla's face crumpled as the gavel fell. 5 years.
No parole.
Ray got 7. His badge dreams dust. Eddie. 2 with 5 years probation. Rehab mandatory. Walking out into the spring sun, Jack slung an arm around me. Vengeance served. Hot and fresh. But as Mom faded in hospice, tubes and monitors her cage, doubt crept in. Was this justice? Or just my ego's feast? Her last words, whispered as I stroked her hair. Love you.
Poppy.
Let go. She slipped away at dawn. Peaceful. The room filled with the scent of fresh-cut flowers. Funeral was small. Sacred, no press. Just us. Scattering ashes by the Gowanus Canal, her favorite urban waterway, I felt the weight lift, then crash back. The apartment stood empty, echoes mocking. But Jack's crashed that night. Pizza and Schitt's Creek reruns. Plotting next chapters. Nonprofit? Podcast?
Spill.
All of it. Maybe. The viral fame lingered. Interviews. Book deals whispered, but I craved quiet. Rebirth taught me. Revenge is a spark, not the fire. And mine? It burned bright, but left scars shaped like questions. Summer unfurled like a hesitant truce. Heat waves shimmering off asphalt as Brooklyn pulsed back to life post-winter's siege. The apartment, once a tomb of memories, became my canvas, walls repainted a bold teal. Thrift furniture arranged feng shui style. Mom's locket on a chain around the mirror as sentinel. Work boomed, clients from the viral story commissioning empowerment graphics. Think fierce women in capes overlaying cityscapes. Jax and I launched Vigil Watch in June, a shoestring op wiring low-income homes with cams and alerts. Funded by GoFundMe residuals and a city grant. From victim to vigilante, a Time Out profile quipped. I hated the label, too superhero. Not enough grit, but it sold. Yet nights were war zones. Insomnia, my drill sergeant. I'd replay the first life in Technicolor, the Vegas haze. Eddie's fake concern as he handed the baggie. Carla's text like a guillotine. Rebirth's gift was clarity. But the cost? Paranoia laced with what-ifs. What if I'd confronted sooner? What if Mom's secret had surfaced? Fracturing us all? That unsent email nod. Her borrow a mother's desperation. Repaid in sweat equity. Forgiveness? A luxury I couldn't afford. Not yet. Therapy helped.
Dr.
Lena, a sharp-witted Latina with a Yankees mug, probing gently. Revenge closed the door.
Poppy.
What's behind it? Healing? I hoped. Or, at least, not hating the reflection. Carla's appeals dragged into July. Her letters from lockup smuggled via a cousin I ghosted. Poppy, this is madness. Blood's thicker, talk to me. Madness? Both.
Kettle.
Eddie. Out on good behavior by fall. Tried outreach to a LinkedIn message. Clean now.
Cease. Can we talk? Blocked.
Ray. Radio silence. His PI license revoked. Last seen hauling trash in Jersey. The family diaspora was complete. A cautionary tale whispered at reunions I never attended. But controversy brewed in the aftermath. Online sleuths dug up my past, twisting freelance woes into entitled millennial screeds. Fox News ran a segment, Vigilante Justice or Family Feud Fiasco? Painting me the villain. A comment stung. She set them up, cold-blooded. Controversial? Hell yes. But in America's funhouse mirror, truth bent like light. August brought the twist. Sharp as a switchblade. Jax and I were at a Vigil Watch launch party, rooftop bar in Dumbo. Fairy lights strung against the Manhattan Bridge glow when my phone vibrated with an unknown caller. Hesitant. I answered. Silence. Then a rasp. Poppy? It's Tina, Ray's ex. My stomach nodded.
Tina.
The Zoom bombshell. Now sober and stateside after a stint in Florida. Coffee? There's more. We met at a Williamsburg diner. Vinyl booths cracked like old skin. Over black coffee. She slid a thumb drive across the Formica. Found this in his stuff after the trial. Insurance for you. The files? A bombshell. Ray's dashcam footage from 2019, tailing me home from Pratt. Noting my routines. Audio of Carla plotting not just the heist, but me, framing me for insurance fraud post-mom. Pinning embezzlement on my reckless spending. The endgame? Force a psych eval. Institutionalize me long enough to contest the will. But the gut punch, a clip of Mom, cornered in her kitchen months before diagnosis. Voice trembling. Carla, the trust, it's Poppy's birthright. I took what I needed for her. But you've bled it dry. Carla's sneer. Survival of the fittest.
Lil.
Blood or not. Mom's plea. Don't hurt her. Promise. Carla's lie. Family first. Tina's eyes welled. Ray recorded it for leverage, blackmail material. He hated Lillian for ruining Carla. Ruining? Mom had covered for Carla's messes since girlhood. Bad debts. Worse men. The secret wasn't just borrowed cash. It was a lifetime of enabling. Mom the martyr. Carla the parasite. I pocketed the drive.
Numb.
Why now? Tina shrugged.
Guilt. And.
Ray's dying. Liver. From the booze. Wants absolution. Absolution. The word mocked as I walked the bridge back. East River turning below like regret. Confrontation came in September. A sterile ward in Newark General. Ray lay shrunken. Tubes hissing. Mustache wilted gray. No visitors but me. Poetic justice. You came, he croaked. Eyes milky. I stood at the foot of the bed. Drive clutched like a grenade. For answers. I played the clip. Volume low but lethal. His face crumpled, not denial, but defeat. Carla's idea. Always was.
I.
Went along. For the family. Family. The excuse that excused nothing. And Mom? You knew she protected you all. He nodded. Tears tracking. Lillian was the good one. We weren't. Confessions spilled. The skimming. The spikes in my drinks, Eddie's handiwork. Ray's lookout. Even a whisper of the OD plot. Carla said it'd look accidental. Payout clean. Murder. Confirmed. Rage surged. Controversial urge to unplug the machine's flickering, but I held. Rot in peace. Uncle. I left him wheezing. The drive copied to the DA for reopen charges. The climax? Not courtroom fireworks, but quiet reckoning. I visited Carla in October. Plexiglass divider cold as their hearts. She looked smaller. Orange jumpsuit swallowing her frame. Fake tan faded to pallor. Poppy. Thank God. Tell them it's a mistake. I slid the transcript under the slot. No vid. Just words. Her eyes scanned. Widening.
This. Lies.
Tina's bitter. Denial cracked as I leaned in. Mom promised you wouldn't hurt me. You did, twice. Her sob was theatrical at first.
Then raw.
I was scared. The money. It was never enough. Layers peeled. Childhood poverty in Queens projects. Mom the golden child who escaped. Carla the shadow clawing for light. I hated her for it. Hated you for being her.
Hate.
The great leveler. I didn't forgive, controversial choice. Walking away without absolution, but understood. Enough to sleep sounder. Twist's echo rippled. Eddie's rehab letter arrived in November. Handwritten scrawl, clean 90 days. The OD? I didn't mean. But I knew. Sorry's cheap. But I'm trying. Redemption arc? Maybe. I replied once. Prove it. Help Vigil watch. Wire a house. He did. Anonymously. First of many. America loves a comeback. But mine was gray, no tidy bows. By December 2025, 5 years post-rebirth, the skyline had changed. New condos piercing the clouds. My life a mosaic of scars and sparks. Jax proposed over dim sum. Partners. Crime and otherwise. Ring a simple gold band engraved no vultures. I said yes. Tears salting the Hargau. Mom's locket hung beside it. A dual talisman. The story? It went viral again. A New Yorker profile. The woman who rewrote her fate. But endings are neat. Rebirth taught controversy's core. Decisions that divide. Like choosing understanding over annihilation. Happy? In fractures, love rebuilt. Purpose forged. Tragic? In the ghosts that whisper what if.
Me?
I chose forward. Sunflower, yellow under teal skies. Unbreakable in the mess.